and how to benefit the best way from Tafabot. Now, if you did join last time, we talked about the new Tafabot app that is going to be coming up and the simplicity of the app, as well as the new function that you should expect. So you want to look forward to that. There's so much that we're bringing to the table with the new Tafabot app. Also, if you're following the Telegram channel, we did announce that if you are in a restricted zone for futures trading, you want to let us know if you are able to trade leverage token on spot. We do have a plan for such users. For when the market is not bullish, you can only trade futures, and we are bringing out a plan for you to always have trade even if you're on the spot market. So there's so much that Tafa is working on, and we can't wait for you to have them. So jumping into what we did the previous week, last Friday, it was quite an interesting, an amazing setup. Looking back at our setup, we did ROLC that closed for a 40% move, and this was quite an interesting trade, being that it didn't complete the whole cycle, but from one trade cycle, it made the profit of 4 trade cycles. So that was a super amazing trade. If you did take that trade, congratulations once more. Also, we want to hear from you on the live Real Traders Real Resort. So if you did send to Future on that show, you want to check your mails, you should have gotten a mail from the media team to schedule a particular time frame where we can have that conversation with you. For those who have not yet, we want to speak with you one-on-one. And when we do that, we promote your referral link to the Tafabot community with a 20% discount for 7 days. So that is something really amazing. It will make a lot of person want to use your link, as they do get a discount as against any other link. So if you want to do that, you want to send a mail to media@tafabot.com. If you didn't get that, I just sent it into the Zoom chat, media@tafabot.com. So you want to send a mail right there that you want to be featured on Real Traders Real Result. It's quite simple. It's a one-on-one section where we just get to talk to you about your Tafabot experience. Also, for those who are joining us for the first time and you don't have auto deleverage enabled, you want to send a message to futures@tafabot.com. We just also posted it in the Zoom chat. If you missed that, in the coming app, you won't need to apply for this again, as it will be live on the app and a click away. Amazing. Then we also did the BTC trade, super amazing, that closed at one strategy for a 10% profit. And we have Lena. Lena was a super amazing setup. It just kept giving in profit. Lena did a total of 50% profit, completing its total cycle. If we do go back to the chart, we're going to notice that all of the market are still on the dump, all of the Lena, especially ROLC. ROLC really went over the roof with the dump. Even if we had strategy 50, that would have been completed. But that also was, if we had to increase that, that would be a game. So we're really glad that we stick to our trade plan, and which is the most important thing about trading, it's to stick to the plan. Then we had the BTC for 10%, we have the Lena for 50%, and we have the OMG. OMG was also super amazing. OMG closed for 50% profits. Then we have the band that closed for 25%. Really amazing setups last Friday. And today we already posted a few setups. We're going to be looking at Neo, Mass, and Band again. So if you've not done that setup, we did post it an hour before the live section. So you could make the setup already, and we're going to be starting it up at the live section. So as we're going to communicate the reason for the setup, and this is very important, you want to pay attention So what we're going to be discussing about the market today, it is really, really important. It's going to give you clarity as to the setup. Now, if you want to start the setup, you could start it up right away, but you want to pay attention to what the market holds. It is very, very important, and it drives how our setup is going to go from here, or what we're going to be doing with our setup. All right. So just to push forward again, you can start the setup right away. If you're joining us for the first time, the Zoom chat is open. You could send me a direct message right now. You have a feedback, a question. We try to answer every one of those questions. So you can start the setup right away, and we're going to jump into the charts to see what the market holds for us this week, and it's really, really, really important. First, we want to look at the liquidation index. So the past 24 hours, we only recorded globally in Binance and all other top exchange, only $50 million liquidation in 24 hours. Now, this should tell us something about the market. Like we did post in the Telegram chat that the market is in a slow dump. Now, a slow dump is quite a tricky market. It's a market to be very, very careful while trading. Also, it holds a lot of profit, but requires some level of care. Now, what this means is there is not enough liquidity in the market, and you understand that the market drives on liquidity. Simply means that people are not putting in a lot of money into the market, or there are not a lot of position in the market. Now, if you've been following our setup, we always talk about whales and institutional traders, and how institutional traders trade is to look at the market, look at both sides of the position, who is on long, what is the money on long side, what is the money on short side, and try to create liquidity for the market by hunting for traders. Now, there are no traders to hunt for this time, which is something very, very peculiar. That's why we have only $50 million liquidation, which is really, really low as against what it should normally be in the global crypto space. So this tells us that the market is static, just dropping down little by little. Now, why I say it is time to be really, really careful is that anything can happen. The market can shoot up in seconds upward, or can shoot down in seconds downward. So it's quite a careful market because we're going to see from the liquidation level based on orders in the market. So you want to make sure you're looking at my screen. So this is something also very interesting. So you want to see this, that this is one time that we do have the long and short position at an equal range. So you could see the level of liquidation for long and position that are open to be liquidated if the market goes against them, as against those also for long and those for short. They are on par, they are equal. So which tells us that we are going to be having a lot of drag over here. So that is something to be really, really careful about. It simply means the market can break either side. So we have a parallel movement for both long and short. We don't have a higher level on the long or a higher level on the short. So that is something really, really interesting to watch out for. And it's going to guide how our setup should be for this week. So once we jump into the charts over here, we're going to see that BTC money flow has still been the way it is as at last section on Friday. The money flow is still the same. We're not seeing money flowing out. We're not seeing money flowing in, just static. Now, you did see Michael Saylor buy $150 million Bitcoin, but that still did not move the market. And then we have the USDT flow that is also hanging at this level here. And we have the same thing happening with the altcoin money flow. So we are not able to break outside the zone we're still trading within the zone on this flow, and there are not enough liquidity in the markets. So for that, it makes it quite tricky as to our setup, that originally we want to look into shorting a lot of market, but understanding that because the liquidity levels are at the same on equal side, the market can move any direction, literally any direction. So for our setup, we do have max over here, we do have neo, and we do have neo, and then we do have band. I'm just going to pull band right in over here. So for some of the markets, we're looking at shorting them. For others, we're looking at longing them based on the liquidity flow in those markets. So let's jump into the setup. We're going to do that right away. I hope it is clear what to expect from the market and how the market is currently going. So first we have the neo setup. This is for futures traders only. So what you want to do for the neo setup, we're shorting neo on strategy period 5, leverage 10, price movement 22, and average 3. So what you want to do is to go over to the martingale calculator over here, and you want to put in your capital. Let's say you're trading with $2,000 for this setup. Now, something also to note is if you do have more capital over $100, it is important to take both setup, the setup for the short and the setup for the long. So we do have short for neo, we do have short for max, but we do have long for band. So you want to take the band setup also, as well as picking one of the setup from the max and the neo. So what you need to do is put in the martingale calculator 2000, and you're going to put in the average for neo 3. For those who are joining us for the first time, you want to put in the price movement 22 over here. So we're going to go 22, average 3, and leverage 10. You want to make sure auto deleverage is turned on this way, and you want to calculate. So it gives you your setup like this, which you want to put directly into your Tafabot app. Now I'm going to show how to create this first setup for users who are joining us for the first time. While for the other setup, we're just going to be starting it up directly. All right, perfect. So I'm sharing my screen on how we're going to go straight to Tafabot. So you want to head into your bot. You want to go to futures markets. If you already have a bot, like I already created mine when we posted that, and we're going to be starting it. If you've not, you want to create by clicking on the plus sign, accept the futures disclaimer, and then you want to proceed to putting in all the details. But I'm going to go back to editing from the one I just created for new. So over here, I put in the bot's name. So I always like to call it setup. So I say new setup, and then we move to what exchange. I'm trading this on Binance. You could use any other exchange of your choice. Market is neo, capital for this trade is $2,000. Strategy is short, martingale type is normal. Then we proceed to entering first entry amount. As you can see from the martingale calculator, it gave me my first entry amount and every other data. First entry is 10.1, number of re-entry is 7, leverage is 10, take profit 0.5, risk is relaxed, strategy period is 5, and entry configuration, just the same thing like I got on the calculator. I'm going to show the calculator shortly. So we have 3, 6, and the other data here. So I'm going to save the bot and go straight into the big button down here. And I'm going to be starting the neo setup. So I need to look for neo setup. So I have neo setup over here. So I'm going to start the bot. and that's it. The bot should be starting on Binance Exchange. So back to the screen for the setup. Like you can see here, it gives me all the data of my setup from the price drop to the martingale ratio. So I just need to impute the data that the calculator gives to me. So that's how to do that. So if you're joining us for the first time, that is what you want to do. Next, we have, you want to start this up right away for Neo. Then we move to Max. And Max, you should already have a Max setup, which we're also shorting. So you just want to start up the bot for Max. If you've not taken the setup, we're doing price movement 33, average 6. So you want to put that in and start the bot. I see a lot of feedback and questions. I'm going to jump right into that while we leave the screen for others to keep setting. Then we have band. Yeah, so there is a little stuff here on the strategy mode for band is that we want a long band. So if you did take this, you want to correct that to long. And I'll show in the chart why we want to put band on a long instead of a short. Remember, I did say, ideally, we want to short the market, but the liquidity level in the market is too close between the short and the long that any of the market movements can happen. So as we are taking the trades for Neo, for Max, for short, we want to long band. So if you already have band set up, you want to just switch that to long to create a balance on where the market decides to push forward to. Now, the reason we're long in band is because of band money flow as against other markets, which we're going to see. So if you did take this, we're going to be re-uploading this in the Telegram channel for a long, and this also permits for sports and for futures. So you want to start up band also if you already did that. And we're going to jump into the chart to see each of these markets, what we should expect. So first we're starting from Max that we're shorting. Now, the reason why we're shorting Max is that Max, despite all of the movements from last Friday, is not able to move into our bullish zone. So it's still trending below the bearish zone. So this gives us a clue of how the money flow for band is currently performing. Okay, so what we should expect for Max is, number one, if the price decides to go up, we're seeing a level at 14% movement up to a 35% movement if the price decides to go up. And this is what we're totally covering up for in our setup. Now, if the price tanks, which is what we're expecting it to do based on the money flow, we're seeing the tank also up to 34% movement, but our setup is covering up for the first zone over here, which is a 13% movement. So at 13% move, we should already have all of our profits on the books. So that is what to expect from Max. And we have Neo over here, which we're also shorting. So Neo, for the same reason that we are shorting Max, is the money flow, and the money flow is also very, very bearish, which gives us a clue that even if the market decides to go forward, these markets are going to be lagging behind, which makes them a very, very good candidate for a short. So for short, what we're looking for with Neo is a maximum 22% zone. So that is quite interesting. The market movement for Neo is not quite large. So it's a 22% zone in the upward or downward movement. So the first zone, we're looking at a 6% drop. This gives us a clue that Neo is quite a very, very stable market as it relates to the money flow right now, that the liquidity levels are not so high. So we just have a drop of 6% and a drop, a rise to 7% higher. So this is quite a good setup to take, as it's going to be pretty stable. Then we're looking at Max. Now, Max is one of the guy that we did a short on Friday, and it showed us how strong the money flow was. Being not able to complete the trade cycle, we were only able to take one cycle from band. So the money flow is still quite very, very strong on band, which is why we are looking for a long with band. So in the upside, you're looking for a 40% move, and in the downward side, you can see that the zone for band, has a larger percentage potential upward, downward. So if the price decides to tank, we have a shorter ratio downward that we're covering for. And if the price goes up, which is what we're looking forward to band, we'll be taking in that profits. Now, running back to all of the setups that we had last time with Lena, Lena is still dropping. Now, we don't want to short all of this market because they are on a heavy slow dump, means they could retract at any time. So you want to let go of those market and stick to the new market for today. We also have ROLC, which was a super massive dump from our setup over here. And you don't want to touch those markets for now. We also have Neo, OMG, and we have Tomo over here. So we're just looking at the new market for today, and we're ignoring those other markets that are still on a slow setup. So I'm going to keep in your screen again the setup for those who missed it, where I'm going to go through the Zoom chart to answer a lot of the questions. If you do have more feedback or question, you want to send it into the charts. Okay, so for the user asking for auto deleverage aggressive, how do you register for it and what is the usefulness? Now, we have two options for auto leverage. So we have auto leverage and then we have auto deleverage. Now, the difference between both is that auto deleverage secures your capital much more if the market decides to go against you. So what happens is it trades in the full capacity of your leverage if the market is trending in your favor. So you're taking the same level of profit that you should take with all your leverage. But if the market decides to tank against you, it's going to deleverage you. Take, for instance, that you are on the 10S, is going to sweep you off the 10S into a 1S to make sure that the market doesn't eat up your capital. Now, if the market goes back in your favor, it's going to switch back into your regular leverage. So that is a risk feature. And when we are using that, we go on relax because it is quite a really, really safe system. Then with the auto leverage, which we usually call aggressive, what that does is similar like auto deleverage, but with a difference that it tries to take a large chunk from the market. So in situations where auto deleverage puts in, let's say, $10 into your trade, auto leverage will possibly put $50 there because it believes the market is still trending in your favor. So it takes the big chunk of profits. Now, for users who are currently using that, you would notice that your auto deleverage profit is almost nine times higher than the auto delivery. So your auto leverage profit is almost 9 times higher than the auto deleverage. But the auto leverage comes with its own perks, which is that if the market moves against you in a fast movement, meaning that it's not going fully in your favor and it has the capacity to really go against you for a liquidation, auto leverage is going to cut out that trade for a 25% loss. So it has an inbuilt stop loss that triggers only when the market is on a full force going against you. But if the market is just doing a mere dump, not really aggressive dump, it will not kick in that stop loss. It will still keep you on a relax. So that is the difference between both of them, and how you want to apply for it is to send a message to futures@tafabot.com. So that is also, I just posted that again into the Zoom chat. Now, you would not need to apply for this in the coming weeks because it will be available directly on the Tafabot app. Okay, another user, I have a member who would like to set up the trade for max with $40. What average movements can this user do? Let's see. Ideally, we try to create the setup from $100 upward, but let's see if what is possible to cover. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna impute $40 and we're tracking, this is for max. Let's see what percentage movements we're tracking for max. This is a 35% movement. That is quite a large percentage movement. You probably want to go for a shorter movement for such capital, like the setup for that should be neo. The setup for neo, that is 22%, that will be easier to cover. For 35% is really going to be tasking to cover up for such movement. So let's do for new for 22, and we can say an average 6. We're going to see if he's going to accept it, else we're going to increase the average nest. So that wouldn't go 22, and we're going to average 7 and 10, and that also wouldn't go. Now, the difference between the average movement, why we're able to change it, is we try to determine the average movement based on the market flow. So this is predetermined from the chart. The chart tells you if the market decides to move, what average movement, percentage movement does it move with, that cumulates into the overall price movement. Now, we're able to tune in the average movement a little bit, but you want to make sure it is safe within the chart. So we're going to try to go for 10, but this will really be an extreme scenario. Okay, let's see. That is still, if we do go for 10, that is going to be an extreme scenario. Let's see. Yeah, so that is really tasking to cover up for that. Let's see. But for users like this, we do have a plan for you, for users with lesser capital, let's say $100 capital. We do have a plan for you that we're still in progress and on testing phase. Now, the new system that we do have for you, despite whatsoever capital you have, let's say you have $40 capital, you have a $100 capital, you will be able to take even as much as 2-3 trades with that low capital. So we're still working on that program, and we're going to be updating you as that goes. So for the user that did ask, it's really going to be tasking to cover up with $40 movement. You might want to step that up a little bit to maybe around 60 or 80 to be able to work with that flow. Now, ideally, you can trade with $40, but with the martingale strategy, we try to cover up for when the market goes wrong. So we leave some capitals behind that we are going to use for when the market goes wrong. So which is why it doesn't fully allow you to put in just $40 into this trade, because it really wants the trade to be very, very secured for you. For other users asking, should we start immediately? Yes, I already gave that a while ago. You want to start immediately. And for the users who already took ban on short, definitely you should be on profit. You just want to close that tiny profit and switch it to long, because that is the long-term system we do see for banned. Why for those who already requested for auto deleverage, you want to check your mail. You should probably get a message from the futures team that it is activated. Okay, user Zion said my BTC is still running. I'm going to leave the screen to the setup again while I'm answering the feedbacks and questions. Okay, my BTC is still running. It says your balance is below your trade capital. What do you do? So what happens is, if you have, let's say, $100 in your exchange and you set $101 on Tafa, it's going to tell you your balance is too low to cover up the setup. So you want to use the exact amount that you have. Also, if you have another trade utilizing that amount or another position on your Binance or your exchange, it's still going to tell you the same thing. So what it takes into consideration is your free balance that it can use on the trade. So what you want to do is adjust the balance and your capital. Okay, user said, can we look into CFS? What is our advice? If we do have time, we'll try to look into that. That is not one of our trade for today. Can we have a check for Ocean? Okay, we're still gonna see. If we do have time, we're gonna have a check for Ocean and see what is the potential. Yes, for users asking, we need to update band to long from short. So we are going to correct that also when we do publish that again in the group. So you're to long band, don't mistake that. We want to place a long on band. Okay, user says, could you explain briefly the difference between strategy period and number of re-entry? Can I increase the strategy period when the setup completes early? And what is the maximum we can set in strategy period? Quite an interesting question. So what the strategy period does is each of the strategy period represents a complete trade cycle. So what is a complete trade cycle? Is that a trade gets into the market and gets out of the market. So that is a cycle. Now, when the trade gets into the market, maybe it takes one martingale entry or 5 or whatever martingale entry, but it finally sells for profit. That is cycle 1. Now, we try to determine the cycle based on how the market can move. So what is the market movement? So I'm going to show you that again, if we jump into the chart. So if you could see the chart right on my screen, right? So example, we have the band chart and we say the first drop of band is 9, okay? So when we put the strategy period, in instance of our setup for today, we say strategy period 5 and 0.5. It means at every point that bands drop over here, every time it drops 1% drop, we are going to be making profits in one of the strategy period. So at the point of reaching 9 here is that we should have completed up to 5 strategy period. Now, this point is a market zone. Now, the market can decide to bounce off the zone back to the upward or decide to keep trending downward. Now, why we create a specific strategy is that if the market does get to the zone and bounces forward, we would not be stuck on the trade. So you want to stick with the strategy period. It simply means the cycle of the market, and that is determined by the chart on how much the market has the capacity to move. Now, if we look at our other previous trade, like the trade for Lena, so our Lena strategy period was 10, and the reason for that is the first drop was for a 14% drop. So we're sure that in a 14% drop, we should have covered up a 10 strategy. So when that is done, Lena also went a little bit downward, but if you kept running it at some point, if the market bounces off this zone, you're going to be stuck. So you want to stick with the strategy period. You don't want to restart it after the trade starts. Now, there are times that a market is running and we say update the strategy period lesser or higher. Now, we see that based on what the chart is saying. We say, okay, based on this chart, we cannot achieve that number of strategy period, or we can achieve more of the strategy period, and we give an update for you to update that. Then for the re-entry, so in the re-entry, if we go to our setup, we're going to push back to the setup screen. So if we go to our setup, we try to say re-entry 0.1 or so. Now, what that does is when a strategic period completes, we tell the bot when should you go back into the market. Now, for markets that we're very, very sure of that they are just trending, we just want to jump right in, we instruct it 0.1. In reality, what we're saying is jump into the market right away. But there are times that we might say, this market is not trending in our direction. Okay, don't go back in after you take a profit. Go back in if the market moves with 1% or 5%. So if you put 5 in your re-entry, you're telling it, after taking profit, don't go back into the market except the market makes a 5% movement in the upward direction or in the downward direction, depending on your re-entry configuration. I hope that is clear. That was quite an interesting question. And what is the maximum strategy period? Just like I said, is based on how much we believe the market can move. If the market has 100% capacity movement, your strategy period can be 100. So it's quite unlimited based on the charts. Can you analyze OMG direction? For me, a user is asking, we're currently not having OMG trade today, but if we do have time, which we're currently running out of, we could look into OMG, but we did have OMG last time. So just take a quick look into it. So we did have an OMG trade, and OMG did a super dump from our setup over here. And we also, it did a dump up to this point, but right now I wouldn't be looking at creating maybe a short or a long on OMG. It is pretty static. It is not moving, no money flow, no liquidity. So that's why we're not looking at those markets for today. Okay, user saying, can you give us an update on BTC up leverage token for spot traders? Yes, we're going to give you an update on that. Not now, we're still looking into the ups and downs of that, and we're proposing a solution for you, which we're going to be showing you very, very soon. So you just want to stay up to date on that. Yes, can you switch band on short to long on the bot? Yes, you can switch it from short to long. You can do that right away. A user said, I have auto deleverage approved. How do I go for auto leverage? You just want to send a message to futures@tafabot.com, and they'll switch you from auto deleverage to auto leverage. Another user, can I edit band to long? Yes, you can do that. Can I shut down BTC trade? Absolutely, you should do that. Okay, another user say, why does the martingale calculator give different results for different users? Now, let's head to the calculator. Again, I believe that's quite an interesting question. So back to the calculator. Now, the setup you get on the calculator depends on what you're instructing it to do. So you want to take, for instance, that I put in a $2,000 capital, price movement 22, and average 3, leverage 10. If I take off auto deleverage, so you want to watch that. So I'm going to take off auto deleverage and push. Then I have my setup here. It tells me I have $18.6 as my first entry. Interesting. Now I'm going to go back and impute the same setting, 2022, 3, 10, and then I'm going to switch on auto deleverage as a setup for this trade, and I push, and this time it tells me I have $10 first entry amount. So the calculator gives you, based on the trade strategy that you're deciding to use, it gives you your strategy for that. If you switch to sports, it's going to give you totally different stuff because it's based on your strategy and configuration. Okay, user is asking, is Binance Spot now working? Yes, they are done with their updates. It's currently working. There's so much feedback and question. We're going to try to attend to as many as we can before we call it a day. Once again, you want to make sure you've started up all your bots. If you've not yet, I'm going to jump into Binance to see how they're currently performing. You want to make sure you have all of that running right away. Now, of course, the market could be very, very slow with all of this setup like we've seen because the market is currently not in an upward or downward trend. What we're just seeing is a slope movement. And so the market, we might not see as fast movement as we do expect. But wow, I'm just looking at my Tafa. Let's jump right in before we continue. If you have started your bot already, you should have the same result like I have right now. I started my bot when we were doing the setup just on the Zoom. So if you can see my screen right now, you see that we already have a profit for Max, twice for Max profit, and a profit from Neo. That is interesting. You can see the day 27th, 17th hour. So this just happened a few minutes ago. If you did take the setup, you are already draining into profit from Max, 2 period from Max and 1 from Neo. That is pretty amazing. Our setups are already yielding results. Amazing. So back to our setup screen. We're going to try to answer as much question as possible and call it a day. So yes, you can set band for sports. Users say I've edited band from short to long. Will it change automatically on Binance? Yes. In the current app that we're going to be releasing, you can directly stop a trade on Binance from the app. So that is something also to look forward to. So much question on band. Yes, you could switch to long on the app. Another user, can I shut down my BTC and take this new trade? Yes, you want to go ahead. And then user is asking, we're longing band. Is that correct? Yes, we are longing band. That is correct. And user is asking, sir, we want to know your decision on the license restriction that we gave our feedback on some time ago. Yes, we are going to be updating you as soon as possible on that. We are still discussing all of the implications at the management level, and we're going to be updating very, very soon. But in the upside, we do see much more reason to lift all of those restrictions so you can have the best of trading experience, but we're going to be updating on that. Okay, another user is asking, if I apply for auto delivery, does it mean I should enable auto delivery while getting the setting? 100%. If you have auto delivery, you want to make sure your setting clicks auto delivery also. Now, in the new app, like I showed last time, when you click auto delivery, it's going to automatically set your account for auto delivery and also give you the same setting. So you will not need to come to the calculator again. But for now, you want to do that on the calculator. Okay, I believe that is clear. We've been able to take a whole lot of questions. We want to jump into our profit. So if you did take any of those trades, you want to check your Tafabot right away. Profits are already in, and we're going to be monitoring that. So for those who are joining us for the first time, you want to make sure you are on our Tafabot setup group, and also the Tafabot community group. We keep updating you as the setup goes. So if you want to join the set an alert, I just posted it into the Telegram chat, the Zoom chat. So you want to set an alert on the Tafabot Signal group. When there are updates about your trade, we send the update right away to you. Okay. Okay, another user said, I started my max same time as you did. but it has not closed in profit. And my max has closed for 2 profits. So you want to check that to say, I guess this is something to do with the bot speed. So you want to check that and let me know if you did take the max trade or the new. Please let me know in the Zoom chat before we call it a day. Are your profits already in on Tafa? Are they already coming in? And we are going to be calling it a day. Okay, user said, okay, I already got my NEO profit, 2 profits on NEO. That is interesting. I do have 1 profit on NEO, why 2 on Max? User said, okay, I already have 2 on NEO. That is quite amazing. Perfect. 1 on Max, 2 on NEO. So the profits are already coming in. So you want to check that. If you don't have the profit yet, mostly for Max or NEO, you want to check your configuration. Another is, I say, 1 profit or band already. Another say 1 profit on NEO already. So the profits are coming in. That is amazing. If not for you, you want to check your setup. Make sure you follow the setup. If you do have a bot log, you want to check the log to clear it. Another is that I already have 2 profits in, 2 on Max, 1 on band, 1 on NEO. Amazing. So this user do have more profits than me already from this setup. He has 2 on Max, 1 on band, 1 on NEO. That is amazing. So we're going to keep you updated on the Telegram channel. If you're not there, you want to join right in. I did send it into the Zoom chat. So we're going to be calling it a day, and wish you a super successful day, and let's make some profit. See you tomorrow in our live setup. We're hoping that the market should have changed its liquidity level, which will give us better trade. Today, we only took 3 trades because of that. Ideally, we'll be taking 5 trades or more. So we do hope the market gives better clarity on that. Another user said, I do have this profits, but for my capital, they are still very minimal. What do I do? You want to apply for auto leverage, which we normally call aggressive. That's like 9x your profits on any of the trades. So that is the difference. Amazing. This user keep asking, please check Ocean. We're going to check Ocean and then call it a day. What is Ocean doing? Jump into the chart. Ocean USDT. So what is particular about Ocean? We don't have a chart set up for Ocean, but if I could just look at it on the face value, what we do see here is Ocean money flow, and then we do see a decline in money flow right from after this dump here, despite Ocean pumping up back, but we do have declining money flow and continuous declining money flow, which gives us a clue that Ocean could be pretty static. Now, if I do check what is Ocean price movements, we're going to see the price movement is running on 6%, even on a long-term frame. That is not a good thing. It tells you that this market is pretty static, no money flow, money is not moving in. You can see also here, the order flow for long and short is pretty almost the same, with short having more order flow there. So what you should expect if you are on this Ocean trade, which is why you're asking us to look at it, that it could be pretty static at this level for a while, and you could keep seeing more upside towards 5% movement downward, except the market does break bullishly out of this 5% zone. You might not see a lot of dump or a lot of pump. It might just be static over there. So that is it about Ocean. Thank you, guys. Let's go make some profit. See you all tomorrow. And we continue discussion right away on the Telegram channel.